So, how do we use our time more effectively in order to make sure that we can practice these skills whenever, wherever, as often as possible in order to maintain that suitable high level of accuracy and retention with the things that we see and get involved in is life, right? How do we make sure that these ultimate cerebral skills, to use a really fancy, douchey way of putting it, they seep in to everything that you're doing? So I get questions about how do you practice, how do you confirm, how do you memorize, how do you read, what do you read, all of this kind of stuff, right? So I thought what we would do is we would kind of take you along as I go about some of the work that I have to do. This is over a trip in and around London, involving some things that I'm not going to mention until it's up, lest I bias your focus and attention and accuracy. But we're gonna look at the way all of this works in terms of the context of the outside world. So here I am at the train station, just looking around, right? Just looking around. Got my glasses on. It's a sunny day. I'm suited and booted. I'm having a look. So there's people out there drinking coffee. There's people queuing for trains. There's people on the other side of the platform. There's someone there reading their little book that they had, and I'm just drinking it all in that particular scenario. So at that particular moment, I'm thinking, okay, who's queuing up for what train? How many people are getting onto it? Who's just checking the times of what trains that are about to come? How can I confirm this just by watching? Well, I can see, based on the knowledge of when my train is coming, how I can put that into effect, because this one will be able to be confirmed first, this one won't. I can see who gets onto the train, who doesn't, these types of things. So there's an observation of reading directional cues and confirmation right from the get-go. But I am at this stage early for my train, so I'm doing some work. Never you mind what I'm drinking. It was a long day, and I'm working on something I believe to be of particular note. I think that kind of speaks for itself in that area. About to get on the train, another editor there. So as I'm walking through here, I'm making a mental note to myself before I sit down. How many families have I passed? Who's doing what? What likely a person is going to get off at what likely stop based on what I know is in that area? Or are they all going to stay on the same direct train to London? How many people are there? Is there going to be anybody that's likely sat in my seat, even though I booked my seat? Based on how full it is or how busy it is. These kinds of questions I'm thinking, so I can be deducing, inducing, abducing, reasoning based on all of this information that I see as I'm walking down, in order to make better sense of what I'm able to confirm and what I aren't. So as I'm arriving into London, there's trains on the other side. This is where I like to stand sometimes when it gets too noisy in this way, too noisy in this way. So I might come and memorize the layout of the train, what's on at the theatre, what isn't, what stop or platform did I get off at, how many people am I having to walk by, how busy is it going to be when I'm likely walking through Euston Station, and all of these things that I'm thinking about are before I actually get to the place that I'm going. So when I get there, I can look around and confirm, deny, change, fix, readjust on the loci methods that I'm using with the information that I'm seeing. It's in the busyness of the Euston Station, heading outside now down towards the Tube. Again, these things are another gift as well. You might be able to look at this and think, all right, there's an interesting sign, this play looks good, whatever it is, but I'm taking it in, I'm drinking it in terms of additional detail, so that when I get on the tube, I can go over it. I carry a camera around with me most places in these little glasses that I have, so I can check my work, so I can check how retentive I've been. You don't have to go that extra mile. You can go down the case of thinking, all right, I'm on the train, what signs did I pass? And if you get to the stage of thinking, well, I'm not sure there were any more, but I got 4 or 5. Well, that's 4 or 5 more than nothing. And you're engaging these skills in amongst real life. You're engaging them whilst walking, whilst doing, whilst planning your journey, whilst making sure you don't bump into other people, whilst making sure that you're on the right side of the escalators instead of the left. If you're on the left, you should be going, you know, all of these types of things that you're processing around you and making active, conscious use of all of this other stuff as well. Stop number one. Oh, that was nice as the train came in. People getting in there, staying on there. Are they just on there for one or two stops and then getting off? Were they about to go off? Where were they going? What were they doing? What were they talking about? What was in their bags? What was in their pockets? Now, here's the thing. With the few people that got off in that scenario, I don't have the opportunity to confirm or deny what was in their bags or what they were talking about or where they're going, all of this kind of stuff. What I can practice in that scenario is the reasoning channels that I would use to get that kind of information to work with. I can make sure that my critical thinking and my reasoning around presentation of information to some kind of useful data to work with is on point, it's accurate, and I'm not just staring at them making sure that it's bloody obvious that they know I'm observing. So here I am just before one of my appointments that day. I'm outside a coffee shop doing some reading. I had half an hour to spare, so I did some reading. It was on, it was this particular book that I was reading at the time. Great book, very specific, not for everyone, not intended for everyone. Even though I think it's on general release as well. But yeah, in this scenario, same situation. Where are people going? If they're walking down the high street, can I deduce what shop or pub or restaurant or coffee shop they're likely to walk into before they do? So I've just arrived here at filming day. We're doing some stuff for one of the companies that I work with. That's Jonas there, setting up. That's me and Bjorn having a chat about what we're about to get into and get involved with and the things about that day, setting up, drinking my shakes. Got to make sure I'm staying active, and I'm clearly very uncomfortable walking in that suit. I hadn't worn a suit for a very long time up until that moment, throughout most of summer, to be honest. I think the whole 4 weeks of August I kind of took to myself to be able to do this, so putting all of those clothes on in the sun is, well, it wasn't very pleasant. It wasn't a nice feeling. Jonas controlling everyone, putting the warm props in their particular place. So these are all good details that I can work with in this moment. Right, where are we? What's likely happening in that particular place? What kind of company are we shooting within? What's the ground like outside? What is going to be in that surrounding area? Right, this is questions that you guys can start to work with because I was there, so I will have the answers. All right. And that's another one, right? We can look into this. Even though you've just seen it, there was a chessboard. Who was winning? Right? Don't rewind yet. But who was winning? Yeah? Who was winning? See if you got it right. This is the kind of area we were working in. It was a kind of art house production studio that was gorgeous. It was an absolutely beautiful place. Engaging all of these, what signs did I see, what times Nickelodeon starting, who's on the train with me, the tube with me, sorry, what signs were up there, are the maps going the same way? So it's all about making effective use. So this is something that I was aware that I was going to do this video, and I basically stuck. It's one of these. God, the magnet's quite strong. These Insta 360 Go 3 action pods, and I stuck it to it. It was glorious. I just didn't turn my microphone on. That's all. I just didn't turn my microphone on. What a rookie mistake that was. So I'm talking about there being information everywhere for me to work with. If I've passed it, I can double check afterwards and then go back and. That's really what we're looking at. If I've noticed a poster, I can recall back to If I've noticed a poster, I can recall back to it. If I've noticed people, I can recall back to it. There was a trip out to a place in London I'd never been before, so I can make sure that I can plan the route out in here, where I'm going, what I'm doing, what's on the high street, what isn't. As much as we possibly can in order to make sure that it is reflexively as accurate. I'm trying to make sure that my skills are as reflexively accurate as possible, as in they happen reflexively without thinking. Like your reflexes do. You hit them, boom, and it's off. There you go, lovely shot up my nose there. That was great. How grumpy do I look? I like the way that this vibrates over with the camera as well. That's just something I put in here because I thought it looked good. We're back at Euston Station now. My glasses are off because it's very warm. I've done a lot of travelling, and here we are. More posters that I can get to grips with on there. So as I'm walking past, standing, texting, replying to emails, watching a movie, listening to a book, whatever it is at that time, I can be looking around. And if I get hungry, I can think, all right, what cabin am I going to? What offers do they have on? Or what kind of booking fees am I getting out of? What was on the booking fee? Or where's the fire exits? How many fire extinguishers are there on there? Who's in what cart? Network information there for me to work. I was running out of available data to work with it. I read my book. I'd listened to all the podcasts I needed to, so I was going over the planned routes around. This is it. We just got back to Stoke now. Even now, when I'm absolutely toasted after a long day of travelling, walking through the car park, and there's still things I can do. There's still things I can test myself on and work towards. I'll sleep some other time. And that's the thing, I'll sleep some other time. What cars did I pass? What were their license plates? Were they big cars, small cars, family cars, or whatever it was? There's always stuff for me to be able to work with. So I'm engaging as best I can, as actionably as I can throughout the entire day. There's always things for me to work with. There's always things for us to go over and I accidentally turned this camera on doing that. So there's always some opportunity for us to develop these skills. You just have to actively engage in that moment and not let them sit passive to your day and think, I could have done this or I could have done that. Take control. This is on a trip to London. I still got all my work done. It was still done to the best of my ability, but there was opportunities here, there, and everywhere for me to train. That kind of information for me to work with was all around me. So let me know how you get on. Take control of your skills and your memory and your retention and the process of consolidation. And I will talk to you all soon. Take care.